Now, we are used to politicians virtue signalling, but this really is something else. Victorian Premier Jacinta Allen has pulled together a hastily arranged new ministry in her Labor government featuring, wait for it, the Parliamentary Secretary for Men's Behaviour Change. No, I'm not kidding. The Parliamentary Secretary for Men's Behaviour Change will be a lone politician whose job it is to fix all men, even those who don't need fixing. Somehow, and the details are a little bit shaky on this one, this will put an end to issues of domestic violence. Of course, we are not intending to make light of an important topic, that is domestic violence, but does anyone seriously believe that this bloke, Tim Richardson, occupying a very junior role within the ministry, will achieve anything of merit? This is how Channel 9 reported it last night.
I've taken the decision to appoint Australia's first Parliamentary Secretary for Men's Behaviour Change.
What the role entails is still being worked through, but Tim Richardson says he's honoured to be helping with cultural change.
It can't be left to women to manage women's safety. It's boys and men and those attitudes and those norms and stereotypes that we need to break away from.
Fixing social media. Okay, good luck with that. Now, joining me is lawyer and commentator Katherine Deves. Katherine, the Secretary for Men's Behaviour Change, could it be more Orwellian?
Well, it's a bit rich coming from the government that cannot even define what a woman or a man is. But look, I don't disagree with having a minister for men, but I think they are absolutely going about it the wrong way. There is a core group of males in our society who are responsible for the vast majority of violence against women known to them, women unknown to them, children, and other men. And these psychopaths are not the type of men who'll be listening to, with all due respect, Tim Richardson sitting there drinking his soy latte and eating a Danish in a cafe with Jacinta Allen. I mean, we do have a massive problem with masculinity at the moment. We have young boys who, we have this sort of catastrophic confluence of things going on. We have messaging of toxic masculinity. We have an epidemic of fatherless homes. We have young men being radicalised online. We have prostitution being normalised. We have a society soaked in porn and hypersexualisation. We have young boys being demonised for simply being rambunctious little boys at school and put on medication. So men and boys definitely do have a problem, but sitting there pontificating and taking, this tokenistic approach that, Tim Richardson will be able to affect behavioural change, I think they're going about it the complete wrong way.
Well, I mean, forgive me, but as a woman, if I'm going to be protected by a man in government, I want them to be shirtless, the six-pack, holding the spear, the whole Viking look. I mean, is Tim Richardson really the right man to inspire boys to be men and indeed women to believe they can be protected? I don't really see many qualifications or even any real plan for this to work.
Look, that's right. It doesn't look like he'd be able to take on a fight. And, whether we like it or not, we do need men in this society who are willing to do violence, as you just said, big, strong men with muscles. And frankly, that's who I'm attracted to. I'm a straight woman and my husband's an ex-policeman and a tradesman. But we do need men like in the military, in the police, who are first responders and rescuers, who are willing to do violence. And I think that in order to protect the rest of us, to take physical risks, etc., and deal with men who are being violent. And, I just don't think that telling men that they need to change their behaviour when the vast majority of men do behave and do their best to provide and protect for their family is the way about it. I mean, the men who are committing this violence, Alexandra, as we see time and time again, whether it's the Burke Street massacre or Man Monis or people of that ilk, they often have a history of domestic violence against the women in their lives, not just their partners, but other women, their mothers, their daughters, and there are red flags all over the place. And women go to the police, they beg for help. These men come in front of the magistrates. These men are not properly punished. They are not incarcerated. They are given chance after chance. And I mean, sometimes you'll look at their rap sheets and think, how on earth is this person roaming the streets. You know, the Burke Street Massacre guy, I mean, he committed dozens of sexual assaults. We've looked at this individual who's identifying as an Aborigine, this Sudanese man. He has a rap sheet as long as your arm. And these men are constantly forgiven, constantly let out on the street. So if we're going to be serious about male violence against women, and we can't call it gendered violence, it's not family violence, it is male violence against women, we have to get serious about the men who are truly violent.
I think women in Australia would feel much safer if we had ministers who were prepared to deport foreign criminals instead of letting them stay on our streets and in our country. Just finally here, Katherine, the plan is, and there's not much of a plan, like, to be honest, he gave a press conference saying that we've got no plan, but I'm very honoured to be in charge of this thing which we haven't really talked about or discussed. But it seems to roughly revolve around monitoring social media. Is this really just another way to crack down and censor social media?
Alexandra, I would say the cynical interpretation would be yes. I mean, if he was serious about men's conduct online, he would be going after pornography, because we know that there is a link between porn use and denigrating and degrading women. But I don't think somehow that he will have the courage to take on that fight.
Well, thank you so much for your comment and for joining us here today.
Thank you, Alexandra. Great to be with you.